You're right here.
I think we're good. I think we're groovy.
All right, cool.
No.
We should just expect it at this point.
As soon as I hit the button, I just knew it.
It's not blue. Ah.
It's still doing the voice. Bum, bum, bum. Do I sound like Jafar when he turned into the genie?
You sound like the temple, the guardian, the lion thing, the tiger temple. Is it the tiger temple?
Oh. Only one may enter here. Seek thee out, the diamond in the rough. Oh, that was fun.
Are you back to normal yet?
I think that and my afternoon dose of Addie just gave me so much dopamine.
Oh my gosh, I'm crying.
Ah.
Hi, everybody.
We're recording, right?
We're recording.
Oh, God, you did hit record on that one. That's fabulous.
Actually, no, I didn't. You just started recording.
That's so interesting.
Weird things are happening in this studio today.
The cloud gods were on our side. Okay.
Hey, everybody.
Hey! Welcome to another episode of Adventures in Vanderland. Here I am, your host, Vanessa Mans, at Mind of Vans on Instagrams. If you don't know by now.
Now you know.
If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah, I am Sylvia from Maiden of the Forest. That is Maiden of the Forest Tarot with underscores under each little word so you know what you're actually reading and getting into. And that is on the Instagram. It's a little different on TikTok, but you can find me just the same on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm on that one too.
Yay.
Seek me out, the diamond in the rough. All right, so we talked about doing an episode about what are we doing? I'm so thrown off by that.
So we're doing the comparisons between the originals and remakes. And now because we have so many to go over, we're actually going to be doing this in two segments.
Dose. You're gonna get doses.
Oh, I like that.
Mm-hmm. I just thought of that.
Especially because I need to up my dose.
Los doses. Okay. Yes. So over the last week or whatever, we have been watching lots and lots of live action remakes, and we're gonna talk about it. You ready to dive in?
Let's do it. You've got your paper notes. I got my phone notes.
Oh, you know I got my notes. Handy dandy notebooks. All right. Listen, we already did that. Check. All right. So where do you want to get started? Let's say we watched. I know I watched The Little Mermaid.
Yep.
Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
And Aladdin.
And then I also watched Mulan.
I just ran out of time, y'all. You know why? I went on dates.
Ooh.
I know.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, we are going to talk about that later.
Your tarot reading.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's another conversation.
So for those that don't know, I gave Vanessa here a tarot reading and we did record it, but I told her she doesn't have to share it with anybody. It is just for her. It's up to her on whether or not she wants to share that with you. I could do a reading for the collective here at some point, but if you follow me on my Instagram or TikTok, you'll see the readings for the collective anyways. So, but yes, very interested. Okay, let's dive on in.
Let's dive. Shall we start with Cinderella? I think that was the first remake and she was one of the OG3s.
Let's do it. As far as it being the first remake for Disney, I don't think it's the very first remake. I think Jungle Book
Well, for Disney princesses.
Okay, yes. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Cinderella.
All right, Cinderella. Let me okay.
Oh, I have notes.
Here's my notes. Um, what did you think about it?
Okay, so all right. I thought of it as in a way of like, okay, it's more of um in my eyes, I was like, okay, this is kind of like slightly spiritually manifestation, right? This is like seriously believing in a belief and then having it come to fruition.
Mhm.
It is like what people would say, if you believe it enough, if you talk about it enough, the beliefs come true. And it's almost like having that magical aspect of the fantasy type of manifestation, if you will, in that film.
Okay, but I mean, she talked about the fairy godmothers when she was a
A little
kid,
kid with her
but
mom.
then she kind of stopped believing. Like even when, and I have things to say about the fairy godmother, but when she
That
showed
girl
up,
was drinking, I'm sorry, she was drinking.
okay, I'm glad you said that because okay, screw it. You know what, Helena Bonham Carter, she was giving Jack Sparrow pretending to be a fairy godmother to me.
It was almost like, you know, in Ella Enchanted, like, the godmother was,
Oh,
like, kind
Minnie
of
Driver.
yeah, she
I
was a
love her.
little, like,
Oh, no, 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 no,
tipsy.
no, no, it was, what's her face?
Was it Toni
No, no, no,
Braxton?
no. Was it Vivica Fox?
Vivica Fox. Stunning,
She
by
was
the
she
way.
was fabulous. She was great.
Stunning. But, you know, it gave me, like, kinda like, been sipping on some things. But actually, I kinda liked the way the fact that, like, sometimes it portrays how sometimes with magic and doing spells and doing certain things, it doesn't come out exactly the way you think it will. Sometimes your intention really has to be there, and the intent has to really be there, and there are some side effects of doing certain magic, so
Mm.
everybody be warned.
And I wanna know, why was her intention to show up at 10 o'clock and say, "You got" like, she took an hour to get the pumpkin right, and then she's like, "But you gotta leave by 12." Like, why did she show up so late, guys? Why did she show up so late?
Was it okay? Like, that's another thing I was trying to figure out was what was the timing of that night? Like, did the girls get ready and they were out by 8 and then she had a godmother, fairy godmother come at 9? Was
I
she
don't
out
know.
the door at like 9:30 and only had like 2 hours or
It
something?
was not a long time. I feel like they showed the clock, and I don't remember exactly, but it was, like, almost 9 o'clock, I feel like, by the time she left the house.
Mm.
And then she had to get all the way there. Hope she met little Kit that she okay, also, why didn't she recognize the guy's name? Like, you live in a kingdom, why don't you know your royals' names?
Because his name wasn't really Kit. It was a name that his father nicknamed him, remember?
Then what's his real name?
We still don't know.
Shut up.
But
I'm pretty sure his
I like that they got to hang out a little bit and get to know each other a
it was
little.
giving Ever
It
After.
was giving a mix of, like, Ever After, a little mix of Ella Enchanted, and it
Mhm.
kinda, like, put the story together
I
where the
did. I like that.
original was missing a whole lot of
The
stuff.
original missed a lot of things because, the original liked people to be silent, liked women to
Exactly.
be silent.
Exactly, and it was supposed to be just a quick story, blah, 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 get it done, get it over with,
But
boom.
also, did you notice how many times she refused to tell the dude her name?
Yeah,
And I'm like,
I wonder
why?
why.
Is she intentionally trying to be, like, mysterious, or is she just being, like, manipulative as fuck?
Well, maybe because, she was going by Cinderella for so long that
That's her family nickname. She coulda just said, "My name is
she
Ella."
could have said her name is Ella, but maybe, you know, sometimes when you're under like an abusive power of control, you kind of
Okay.
believe the things that people tell you, and you are like, "Oh, I've been going by this name for so long.
Even the
Do
mice called
I
her
do I
Cinderella.
tell him my name is Cinder Ella?" Like, I can understand her not wanting to share the name a little bit with that.
I love that you brought that perspective because, like, I was just like, "Why won't she tell him her name? Give him a name. You could be an alias."
By the way, I have to say, stepmother. Who I don't know the actress's name, but man, she played the stepmother
Fabulously.
great,
Fabulous.
amazing,
The
fabulous,
outfits?
silhouette-like,
Oh my
just
god. No, her dresses,
stoic.
her whole wardrobe
That
was like
green wardrobe when she came into the
it
house with
was
the hat,
so
it was
good.
just silhouette-like, it was
Right?
just
Even the one
statuesque.
she wore to the ball, I'm
Oh
like,
my
mm,
goodness.
loved it.
Girl can kill a
And
look, let
I
me tell
love
you.
that they also gave the stepmother some backstory. She wasn't just evil because she was evil by nature.
She was survival mode.
True survival mode. Like, she already lost 2 husbands. She's trying to take care of these 2 girls, and she was essentially just a jealous, actual green-eyed monster.
Yeah, and then back then, if you were a woman and you were married already and you were widowed
It
already,
was hard to
you
find
were
a
almost
man.
considered ruined.
Mhm.
You would be ruined if you couldn't find a man. And back then, she couldn't have a job. You couldn't support your girls like that. The only way to support the girls was to marry. So she was literally survival mode doing what she needed to do.
Mhm.
And even in then, I was like, she's not really that much of a villain, but she sucked. But she
She's
was not
She
a,
definitely
a
was
true
jealous of a
villain.
little girl, but the
Yes,
father,
absolutely.
like, it wasn't her fault. She definitely overheard the father saying, like, he still was in love with the deceased mother,
Yes, and that
and she knew she could never live up to the love he had for his first wife or his daughter.
and that's why he was like, we have this house and we want to preserve this house for your mother and the mother's memory. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna redecorate.
Mhm.
Because she wanted to, have love. She wanted to also have love too. And she's like, hearing all this,
Yeah. I
I'd be a
mean,
little like, oh.
honestly, that's part of the reason why I don't wanna date a dude with kids. If I'm being completely honest, even though I have one, I know it's the pot calling the kettle black, but I I do have like, honestly, I think that movie might have traumatized me a little bit because, like, in my mind, I don't want to always be second to, like, somebody else. I wanna be somebody's first priority, but there's also the fact that I'm like, if anything ever happened to me, I don't want my son to be like a Cinderella.
Well,
So,
here's the
yeah,
thing,
that's why
you
I
don't
didn't date
wanna
for
be
so
second
long.
to someone else, but you have a child, and if you were to meet someone, would they not be second to your child?
We're not talking about rationality, okay? Have we not discussed, like, my mental illness? Like, I'm not right in the head. I know it's
I
not
think you're very pleasant. I
most
find you wonderful.
most of the times. Sometimes I'm a dragon. I'm not always rational. I can get jealous.
I'm always a dragon.
A
You
lot of
get me on my chill days or you get me on my
You
furious
know what?
days.
All these, like, women that they paint as villains, they were just a little jealous. Really were. It was just jealousy, and they were like, "You evil."
Yeah, or just like a survival way or adaption way, which is why I also want to talk about Mulan. But when we get there, we got to get
Let's
through
get
these
there.
first.
Let's get there. All right. So I wrote down some of the wins for Cinderella, the expanded backstory. Oh, I also like the fact that with the father, the king, they made it that he was like ailing and dying, and that was the purpose for why he was pushing Kit to get married, to have the ball and all of that jazz.
Yeah, not
Uh,
to just hear pitter patter feet.
exactly. It wasn't just like for him. It was like I want to see you like achieve these milestones before I go. I wanna make sure you're good. So
Yeah.
I did like that, and it redeemed him from being a villain in my eyes a little bit. Um, I think it also helped me have empathy for Kit. Like, okay, he's not just some random handsome prince. He's going through some stuff too, and it connected their emotional kindred spirits. They're going through the whole orphan thing as it is.
hmm
So anyway, um, yeah, I put that. I like the fact that they had a more organic little meet cute moment, and that while I guess it was actually a nickname, but the fact that he had a name, I said as a win. Any wins in your book that I missed?
Um. Hold on. Let me think real quick. So with this movie, I felt like we also got to know the sisters a little bit better as
Did we?
well.
What did we learn about the sisters?
We saw them a little bit more. We saw them be actual sisters to one another.
Oh my god, wait, that one when she was singing?
Oh my gosh.
That was
Oh,
torture.
and not only that, but like the high class like audacity charm of the stepmother clocking Cinderella's harsh face look and then just dropping
Mhm.
the platter for her to pick up.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, "Oh, girl, she a boss boss. She a
I
boss
love
boss. I
I
love
loved
her."
it. I
I'm like,
loved it.
the sass and the audacity, and then she goes, "Do shut up."
Like she was like, but
But I liked seeing the
don't you
sisters, like,
dare.
as they were, like, waiting for the prince to come in, they're like, "Let him in," and then they were doing the little jig
Mhm.
at the same time. Like, you saw, like, the synchronicities of the sisters and how
Yeah.
close they were.
Were they supposed to be twins or were they just very close in age, do you
I
think?
think they were just close in age.
Mhm. I liked when they were getting ready doing their corsets like, "Tighter, tighter."
Tighter,
Okay.
tighter.
My misses were yeah, the fairy godmother, I'm like, "Helena, we could have done a better role with this." I don't know. Cinderella hiding her name and the fact that she didn't know the prince's name. But you explained that
Yeah,
one.
I didn't like the part when they got married and he was like, "My something something." She goes, "My kit." I didn't like that. I was like, "Ew."
Yeah, the ending
It gave me
wasn't
like a little, "Mm,
eh,
my kit." No, okay.
yeah.
I don't
Did
know.
what did he call her? Like, "My princess?"
My queen?
I don't know.
I think he was like, "My queen." She goes, "My kit."
Eh,
Like,
whatever.
"You'll always be just kit to me," which is kind of cute, but, like, I didn't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, I liked it better than it definitely gave the original way more depth. Not my favorite. Alright. The next one that came out was Beauty and the Beast. Do you wanna get into that one?
Ooh,
Because
yes.
I
Yes.
had a lot of notes for Beauty and the
Alright,
Beast.
so first off, I'm gonna say that I watched this film in theaters, like, 7 times, and I'm
Mm,
gonna explain why. And this might be embarrassing for some, but I don't care. So, I was in the dating field, and I got stood up a lot, and every time I would get stood up, I would go see this film over again. So, I got stood up, like, 6 times.
mm, that's rough.
Yeah, but, like, every time I saw the film, I
Idiots.
just loved it, and I was like, "Okay, this is so much better than I forgot what's his name already." Like, this is just so much better, like, use of my time watching this
Absolutely.
over and over again, but I have to say, like, I was amazed with the animation,
Oh,
how much they
I
got right,
cried in the
pictured,
theater.
like, just even the surrounding picture,
Oh,
the
yeah.
architecture, I was like, "This is
It was
exactly
beautiful.
perfect." I was like, "This is perfect."
Indeed no,
And I
they
could
got
sing my
so much
heart
right with that
out
movie.
too, because the new movie theaters ended up being empty, so
Oh,
I'd be
lovely.
screaming and
And
belting
can
these
we talk
songs.
about the
Oh my
soundtrack?
god, and
Because
the Beast
Au Audra
song.
oh, my
Oh my gosh,
favorite
I
out of all
cry every
every time that's one of my
time.
favorite I
I
love it. Can I tell
cry.
you, I love it when I have a cold and, like, basically my pitch goes, like, an octave lower because I can actually sing that song. Like, I was like, "Sick oh, wait, wait, wait."
I was the one who had it all.
That's actually pretty good. That was actually pretty good.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
As soon as I get sick, I play that song on repeat, and I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm doing it." But Audra McDonald, when she, opened with that opera little ditty she was
Number.
like, just every time she hit a note, I was just like it just, ooh, sends shivers down my spine. I was like, "Ooh, you're so good." So good. I didn't love Emma Watson's voice.
No, you didn't.
I didn't love her voice. I'm like,
It was
it
auto-tuned too.
it was a there was
It was
definitely
quite
it
auto-tuned.
was a lot of autotune, you could tell, and it was fine, but I'm like, when you have the caliber of the other singers in the movie that they had, I was just like,
Yeah, it
it
doesn't
fell flat.
when you have those amazing singers all the way up here with the quality, and then you have her where she does fall flat with where everyone else is. It's not that
Right.
she's not good at it, but, the quality compared to everyone else was a little
Right.
lower.
I will say, like, I felt the same way when I watched Hamilton. I feel like it's genius, and I can't stand Lin-Manuel Miranda because he's so freaking genius. Anyway, but there was time, like, especially when he was singing the more emotional songs, I felt like he fell flat compared to, like, Philippa Sue and, Renee Elise Goldberry, like
I love that you're saying a whole bunch of names. I'm like, I have no idea the picture
Watch Hamilton. It's on Disney Plus.
of the people in my head.
Watch it. When you carve out three, he with Leslie Odom Jr. When he's singing these songs with them, I felt like maybe it was just the day that they filmed because I've heard him sing better, but I felt like when I heard him sing with them, I was like,
And what character was he in the
he
film?
was Hamilton, Lin-Manuel. In Hamilton, what? He wasn't in Beauty and the Beast. I'm saying I'm comparing.
Oh, okay. I'm like, who?
But
in
I felt the
Beauty
same.
and the Beast is
I
this?
felt the same way. Well, I'm gonna talk about Lin-Manuel because he did the music for Little Mermaid, and we're gonna get there.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, I didn't love her voice. I loved the Gaston song because like they changed a lot of the lyrics, but I felt like they were so good.
I love that Olaf is the one that's singing
I
this.
know. I love how he like. First of all, I love the relationship, how he's like secretly in love with Gaston. And then in the end, when he's like, we are so not in a good place right now. I was like, yeah, you deserve better, LeFou. Anyway, but yeah, that movie was so
well
good.
done.
There was a lot of controversy about the dress. How did you feel about the dress?
I was about the dress. I'm
I
gonna
feel
be
like
honest.
it
like,
wasn't horrible.
but it also wasn't.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't for the time either.
Also, you know what I couldn't stand?
It was too simple.
It was too like she needed one of those poofy
Yeah,
bits.
she needed those like that like guarded like
Yeah.
when we saw in Cinderella,
Yes.
like the guarded
The one, even the wardrobe put
cage.
one on her when she first got to the room. Remember when she dressed her with all the ribbons?
Mhm.
Like she,
But where was it?
I
Where
don't
was
know,
it in
like why.
the-
But also when she like in the beginning, she was walking around with her dress half tucked up, and like I was just like, why do you have your dress tucked up? Either wear a dress or
Well,
wear
'cause she was
pants.
feeding the animals.
She just wore it like that all the time, and like I'm like, you got your underwear showing. This is not appropriate, woman.
Listen, sometimes you need a breeze.
She's
Sometimes
wearing
you need a
long
breeze.
johns. I mean, like,
And that's why you need a
like
breeze.
if this was her leg, her underwear are going down to here, and then her boots right here. Like,
yeah. Well, here's the thing: if you have layers and layers, and you working, I'm gonna tuck that up.
that chick was not working when the way she
reading.
rigamarooed that well
She
with
was reading.
the laundry. The most work she did was walking to the library.
There's no AC back then. Listen, you need a breeze. You need a breeze. Tuck that up.
Once she got to the Beast Castle, it was like an eternal winter anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
So put your damn dress down. Also, okay, wait. The library in the town, I hated it. Hated it. It was a foyer with 7 books. Like, why? What was the purpose of changing that? In the cartoon, it was a small bookshop.
Yeah.
But he had at least like 100 books.
Yeah, enough for you to have that ladder that every girl wanted to go on and slide through.
Right. And she didn't get to do that.
No.
And I hate it. I was like, you're in a hallway and you're asking if there's any more books. Bitch, you can just look at the thing and see that there's no more new books. Like, at least if there's a bookshop, when you ask, oh, do you have any new books? Not since yesterday. That was one of my favorite lines in that movie. I mean, we get it. Like, you read through a book a day, but I don't know. It took me out of the movie a little bit. It didn't make sense. I don't know.
Anything else for Beauty and the Beast?
There was a lot of things I had for Beauty and the Beast. Oh, you know what else I hated? When Lumiere and Cogsworth were the ones that took her out of the dungeon or whatever, the tower, and showed her to her room. I thought that was a misstep. Like,
didn't that actually happen in the first film, in the original film?
In the original film, the Beast did it. He was walking her to her room, and she was like, "What do you mean, my room? Aren't you gonna?" He's like, "No, don't. You want to stay here in the tower? Remember?" And then it's like that was when you saw him start to soften and say, "The castle is your home now. You can go anywhere but the West Wing."
Yeah, that's right.
But because Lumiere and Cogsworth did it, I feel like you missed that opportunity of her seeing the softer side of the Beast in the beginning. It's like a pivotal point, I think, in building their relationship. And also, I think it makes it more sensical when he has that tantrum, when he does find her in the West Wing, because not only did I invite you into my entire castle, but then you deliberately disobeyed me the next day. Like, he was the one that invited her to dinner that she refused. But, like, they didn't do that in this film, and I think that was the biggest misstep.
Okay. Yeah, no, I see. I can see where I can smell what you're stepping in.
But I like how they redeemed the relationship with the, after the wolves and, like, her taking care of him for a longer than, like, 2 seconds.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I liked the way that he went about the library. I loved how ADHD coded both of them are in this movie. Like, the scene where he's in bed and, like, she's like, "Oh, you know Romeo and Juliet, like, you know Shakespeare?" And he's like she totally misjudged him for being an illiterate beast.
Yep.
And then he said, "Oh, Romeo and Juliet's your favorite? You're, like, basically
Basic.
you're so basic.
You're
Let
basic.
let me introduce you to some, like, actual cultured literature." And that's why he showed her the library rather than it being, like, a
Like a gift.
gift or a reason for her to, like, fall for him. It's like, "Here you go." And then the joke
Educate yourself.
like, "Go educate yourself, and then let's talk about some literature." And then when she's like, "Oh, you've read all of these?" And he said, "Nah, some of them are in Greek." I loved it. He was like, "No, out of all the languages that I know, Greek's not one of them."
That's amazing.
I don't know, that line just I don't know. I didn't catch it before, but I loved it this time around.
I mean, he also had the means to be that educated too,
Oh,
and he
absolutely.
also had plenty of time, whereas this girl was inventing things with her paw.
True, true, true. But I liked getting more of that backstory and, like also, did she not put together that he was the prince, though? Right?
Well, the painting.
But, like, there was a scene where Mrs. Potts was about to say, like, "Oh, the prince," he's like or something that she kinda, like, course corrected and said, "Princely fellow," like, she was asking about him, and she's like, "Oh," like, I think about them being cursed, and she said, "Oh, yeah, we something about the princely fellow," or something, like, so, like, she was trying not to give away that he was the prince,
I think it's because she needed to fall in love with him as the beast and
w
not a
which
prince.
I understand that, but also she's smart as hell. Did she not put it together?
I guess not.
Doesn't make sense. I don't get
That's
movie
another thing
I
on
d
your
um,
not great
I don't
list.
I don't love, like, the lack of movie knowledge sometimes. Also, why did she wear a cloak into the woods when she went to go look for her father? It was June. Marie said it. "Why is it snowing in June?" "It's June. Why'd you put a cloak on before you went to go look for your father if it's June?" She didn't know she was about to go into an eternal winter forest.
Maybe she was trying not to be seen? I don't know. I can't. I can't.
Exactly.
I can't.
Huh?
I can't.
Oh, and I like that he actually pelted her with the snowball during the snowball fight.
Yeah.
He didn't miss that time. I loved it. Yeah, go ahead. You had other things? You had
No,
notes?
no.
Did you have phone notes?
Not for Beauty and the Beast, no.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
I had it for Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and Mulan.
Okay. Um, anything else we need to say about Beauty and the Beast? I feel like there's so many more things.
Cinematically, visually, musically, it
So
was
good.
fantastic.
So
It
good.
was fantastic. And I watched it so many times that I had friends actually Amazon me the film in DVD for a gift because they were like, "You watched it
Oh.
so many times in theater. Here you go." I was like, "I watched it because I got stood up on dates." But yes, I do love the
It's really
film.
good. I think it is definitely one of the best out of all the remakes, for sure. I love the little dancing scenes and stuff. I love that Maurice was, like, not quite as half-cocked also. He was a little bit more with it in this film, I think. But
Oh,
I didn't
no.
love the way he broke and entered into the castle. I was like, "You kinda get what you deserve."
Yeah.
But anyway.
I just realized I don't have my notes for Aladdin, just Mulan and the Little Mermaid, but I have mental notes for
Okay.
Aladdin.
Let's get into Aladdin. That was the next one anyway.
Let's do it.
Alright. Your thoughts on Aladdin?
You want my thoughts
I
first?
do want your thoughts first.
Oh,
I feel
boy.
like I've been talking a lot. Ooh, that's a deep breath.
I'm holding the mic with 2 hands if you can't tell. Okay.
Spicy.
No one can replace Robin Williams.
Okay, the first thing that I have
No one
on
can replace
here
him!
is about Will Smith's genie. Okay, you go.
Okay. Robin Williams, a man of many, 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 many voices. I
Mhm.
do voices. I mean, he is fantastic.
Absolutely.
He's like doing all the different voices for all the different characters
Mhm.
of the whole throughout the whole film.
He did so many
Even his
imitations.
own intro of who he was. He did like, we pride ourselves on service. You're the boss, the king of the shots. Like he did so many different voices, man. And like Will Smith voices were flat for me. They were. And the thing is and I get it. Will Smith was supposed to be his own genie. He was supposed to be his own genie.
Mhm.
But I will say that they confirmed something with this film for Aladdin with the genie and about the genie that they did not really get to confirm in the animated one, which was the intro guy. The guy that introduces the film, introduces the
Mhm.
story, was the genie.
I thought that was common knowledge.
Well, some people didn't realize that that was the genie.
Oh,
Some
okay.
people are just realizing it now.
That's crazy.
But, like, in the film, this remake, you really see that that definitely was the genie, and
Mhm.
that definitely was Will Smith and his wonderful, wonderful wife, who's also in one of my favorite shows called New Girl.
I love that show. Oh my god, that I believe that the inventor, the writers, producers of that show went to a parallel universe somewhere in the multiverse. They observed my parallel self and decided to make her a white girl and base that movie off my life. I mean, base that show off my life.
I think Jess has ADHD because
She
here's the
absolutely
thing.
has
My
ADHD.
partner says, "Oh, you need to watch this show. The main character reminds me of you."
First
And I'm
of
like,
all,
"Hilarious," because Nick reminds me of you.
I love Nick. I so want to find my Nick because oh my gosh.
Like just the face, the grossed out and grumpy face. I'm like,
I love
"You're
it.
Nick. You're Nick. You're so Nick." But yeah, he's fantastic.
I digress. That show, oh my god, I wish I knew I had ADHD when I was watching that show originally, but when I watch it back, I'm like, "How is it not obvious?"
Like next week we have to miss it because I'm gonna be doing jury duty and I kind of want to get picked. And he's like, "You're a Jessica Day. You're such a
The episode where
Jessica
she had
Day."
jury duty,
Yeah.
I mean, even though it was a cover up for her pregnancy,
Yes, being
but,
pregnant. That's what I thought too.
okay, I digress.
Okay, but anyways, yes.
Okay, Will Smith. So, I actually okay, I feel the same way that nobody could live up to Robin Williams. He is a genius comedian, the voices. He brought so much personality to the genie. The whole original movie could have been The Genie of the Lamp and Aladdin, let's be honest. And I feel like Will Smith wasn't a bad pick for the genie,
No, he was not.
but I feel like he did
No one was going to be able to replace
nobody.
No one will
And but
replace
I
Robin
feel like my
Williams.
favorite lines from Will Smith was when he was doing Will Smith, not doing Will Smith trying to
Be
be
the genie,
Robin Williams.
Yes.
So, like when he did, like when he was making the prince and he had like that Fresh Prince in the back, I was like, that's genius. But like when he was trying to do the Robin Williams version of the voices, and I was like, oh,
No, that fell flat.
it fell flat.
Like I understand wanting to honor Robin Williams in that way, but dude, just do your thing.
Absolutely.
If you were casted for this role, you got to do your thing. You got to make the genie you. You got to make it
100%.
yourself. Don't try to be Robin Williams because that's how you get burned, my dude.
Absolutely.
But
So
I did like parts of Will Smith being the genie.
I loved his relationship with Dahlia.
Yeah.
I mean, and then her dry ass humor.
I loved how he's like, "This is a party. You ain't ruining this for me.
Oh, I know.
You are not ruining this
And
for
then
me."
like, and that was a good line. Like those were the moments that I liked the most.
Mhm.
Like when he was being Will Smith.
I also liked when he was kind of trying to, you know, really edge him into
Also-
telling the truth. Like, be truthful. Be
Absolutely.
you. Like, he's like, "Oh, you a prince now, huh?
Mhm.
You the prince now, huh?
When
That's
he's
who
like,
you want to
do
be. That's
the
who you're
little
gonna be."
backflip, doing the little thing.
Oh my gosh, the dance, the
For
dance
the
moves.
dance. First of all, the Bollywood dancing was
Amazing.
so good.
Costumes were
The
fantastic.
costumes. Oh, I think
fantastic.
that's like my favorite wardrobe. And I also love the fact that they made Jasmine more modest.
Yeah.
In her wardrobe. The little bustier with the V-cut pantaloons, like she was basically a 15-year-old sex symbol. And the fact that especially I think it's inferred in the movie that they're, like, Islamic or Muslim or something, which is known to be a more modest dressing culture. And I love the fact that they made the costumes, especially the
And
one.
they made it modest, but they still showed a tiny
Right,
just a tiny
because again,
sheer with some
it's a
gem
spectrum.
on the stomach.
It's a spectrum. You
Yeah.
have some that dress very,
But
like.
I think they did a fantastic job with
Absolutely.
wardrobe and the dancing, and it really brought that kind of culture really
Like, to the
into
forefront. I
Disney, and
love
I love
it.
the fact that they embraced the culture that way.
Absolutely, like,
Good job, Disney.
aces.
Good job,
That's the
Disney.
best part, and also, I do love the fact that I think I criticized Aladdin for his lying,
Yes, I was
s
good. I had notes on that. I was like, "Oh, wait, hold on, let's talk about this."
but I like
Oh, I don't have
not that I
notes on that.
liked, he's still a liar, and I still don't like him for it, but I like the fact that his lie was closer to the truth.
Way to
When
omit.
like, in the Whole New World after the Whole New World scene where she called him out for being Aladdin, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, I am a prince, but, I came early and I wanted to observe
The
the."
city and the
And
people.
basically, I did the same thing you were doing, rather than just flat out lying and saying. I mean, well, he was still flat out lying, but
He was.
it was a more believable lie, and I can forgive Jasmine for falling for it a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I can forgive her in the remake,
In the
right? In the
remake.
remake, I can forgive
I
her
don't
for
forgive her
believing
for
it
the
a little bit, and
original.
like even she was there with her handmaid, like talking about it, and her handmaid's like, "Are you sure?" And she's
Exactly.
like, "Well, would you not like him even if he was like the
Mhm.
street rat? Like, come on,
Yeah. Like, "I need to
let's
go
get
bathe
into
my
it."
cat."
I like that she had a good relationship with her handmaid, by the
I
way,
love
because,
that.
like, the fact that she pretended to be the handmaid and her handmaid
Oh,
actually
yes,
the princess,
I am the
I
princess.
am the princess. I am the
I love
princess.
both of the well, she definitely had ADHD too, or
Yes.
she had a little something going on. She was a little neurospicy.
Yes, yes. But, yeah, I was noticing him, like, wanting to kinda tell the truth, but then falling back because he was getting closer, and
Mhm.
it's those things that are like, "Okay, that's a slippery slope," and the genie's like, "Okay, dude, like, why don't you just be you?"
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
Oh, you did it way better.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think those were all of the wins that I put on there. Oh, Speechless. I love that song.
Oh, yes, where she finds her voice and
Yes,
she's
and I
like
love her character arc where she's not just it wasn't about, "Oh, I wanna marry for love," or, "I don't wanna get married at all," but her whole
is
journey was
for
about,
her people.
I want to be the sultan because I'm the one. I don't wanna marry somebody else to become the sultan of my people.
Mhm.
I'm the one who's going to fight for these people. I am going to give a better life to my people.
Yes, and she really cared about them. You can see, when they
Absolutely.
did the carpet ride, she's like, "This is the best view." Yes,
Absolutely.
because
Ooh,
she
I'm
saw
getting
the people.
chills.
Yeah,
Ooh.
she was fantastic, and I loved that, like, as she was singing, right, it's almost like her voice would, like, make those, Sultan soldiers disappear and
Yes.
make Jafar disappear, and it's almost like by using your voice, you can accomplish and get over these hurdles and allow these things and these troubles and problems to finally crumble so they're
Mhm.
not there anymore, but you have to use your voice, and that's giving women all over, the power of
My
speech and their
shirt.
voice.
Listen to it does it's hard to see
It's
it, but
so hard to see, which is the
it
wrong
says
message.
black women, but listen to women, period. Especially black women, no, stop. But
Period.
listen to women, period. All of the women, because we're smart and we fight for our people and we fight for what's right.
And we have empathy and we wanna live with joy, and that's very important. Anyways,
Um, Jafar. I don't know how
I wasn't convinced with there's
yeah,
something with the face.
there was something, like, not right about him.
Oh, you know what it is? I know what it is.
What is
He
it?
didn't have a sunken in starvation Skeletor-like face.
You know what I also did? I like that they gave him a little bit of the backstory because I think it helps you find some well, I think we talked about this, like, when you know the character's backstory, it helps them like, it helps you view them as, like, slightly less villainous and, like, you understand why they took those actions.
Mm.
But I also felt like there was something that didn't add up about the backstory. I guess, okay, fine, you went to a Sherabad prison for however many years, but what did you do to get there? Did they ever explain that?
No.
And so that's for me, I'm like, "Sir, did they just drag you off the street and put you in prison, or did you do something to get there?" And, like, how narcissistic are you to blame everybody else for what happened to you, your suffering, because you must have played a role in it.
Agreed.
Mic drop. Yeah, so I wasn't crazy about that. I do like Iago had a little bit more shade throwing, though, but he wasn't as big of a character as the one in the other one. I like some of his shady lines, though.
Mhm.
Other oh, the speed up effects that they did in some of the dance numbers. I didn't like that.
The speed up
Like
effects?
like
Oh, like when Aladdin was dancing really
like,
fast?
when they were dancing, they did it in one step ahead or one jump ahead. They did it, like, when he and, Jasmine were, like, going through it just that little they sped up the movements, like,
Mhm.
and I didn't like it.
'Cause it was too CGI-y. Too CGI-y.
I mean, or just, like, too much yeah, whatever the effects that they did, I'm like, it wasn't necessary. It's not like you're speeding them up to, like, dance to the rhythm of a fast song. You're just like, why did you do it? I think they did it in several songs, and I was just like, it's taking me out of the song.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that. I think they did it in the Bollywood number too. But anyway, there was that. I think those were all my hits and misses.
I think we nailed them.
Okay,
Yeah.
fabulous. The Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid. Let's get into it.
um, this one might be my favorite one of all of them
Out of all the remakes.
so far. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, at least the ones that we're talking about today. I think
Okay, today.
this one is my favorite. I think there were so many wins, but I have to talk about the misses first.
Let's do it.
Melissa McCarthy was not it. She wasn't it. She wasn't it. She wasn't it.
Really?
I did not like it.
I thought she did I thought she did a good job.
Nah, no, no. First of all, there was way too much exposition in the form of her talking to herself. I didn't like it. Um, she didn't stick to a same accent. Like, there were times that it sounded like she was trying to, like, imitate the original Ursula,
Oh, kinda
and
like
then
the Will Smith thing.
exactly. It's exactly like that, and then there were times that she sounded like Melissa McCarthy, but then there were times that she put on, like, a little bit of a weird British accent or something.
I don't remember a
Her
British
Okay, you
accent.
know my thing for accents, so I'm telling you, I noticed
Okay.
it wasn't, like, straight up, like, "Pip, pip, cheerio." It wasn't like that, but,
Okay.
like, you could tell that she was doing some kind of a different accent. It wasn't her natural accent or voice,
Hmm.
but it wasn't, like, her trying to do the original Ursula's voice accent either. It was just somewhere in between. So it's like she couldn't maintain the same accent, and it kept taking me out of her dialogue the entire time. Um, she's so ADHD coded. That I did like when she was, like, looking for the
For all the
potions.
stuff. No, no,
Not this
no,
one.
no.
Why did where are all my things? Like,
Oh,
that's exactly what
here it
happened.
is.
That's what happens when an ADHD person tries to organize or clean their shit. Can't find it again. So I
It's
did
so funny, like, if something's a mess, we know exactly where
I could
everything
t
is.
I could tell
But
you
as soon as we clean
it's
and
under the
organize, we're
shirt
like,
that's under the
"Where
bed,
is
back in the
it?"
corner.
Yeah. Like, "Hey, man, have you seen the tape?" "Oh, yeah, I used it last Thursday," or something like that. It's in the 3rd drawer underneath the pencil, next to the Chinese takeout menu.
The red pencil, not the purple pencil.
Yeah. The one that you have to, like, unwind like this, like a piece of yarn, that one.
But let us clean up, and I can't find a single thing.
Like
So
my remote. How do I lose my remote after I clean my room? I don't know.
I did the exact same thing just this weekend. I have to change the volume on the TV now.
Yeah,
I
anyways.
digress. Uncharted. I like the song, but I didn't love the delivery of the song.
Uncharted was,
The
whose song?
Prince Eric song,
Okay.
Uncharted.
I have notes.
Okay, I felt like it was unnecessary, and I felt like he just didn't hit it. I felt like it was a little bit soulless coming from him. It lacked soul.
I thought it was very necessary.
Okay.
Very necessary because hold on, let me see. Um, I gotta get down to that part because I want to talk about
Let's
some
get
other part.
down to business. Okay.
Okay, so Eric, remember a few podcast episodes ago, we were
Yes.
saying that he was always under her spell?
Yep.
Okay, so ever since she sang the song, and okay, this was when he was always thinking of her. He was constantly thinking of her. He
Mhm.
even says, I can't think of anything else, which showcases that she could have accidentally or unintentionally used her siren gifts. Even Ursula said, you can't use that siren song of hers. And when you see her humming the siren song and doing this with her finger, the fish are following her finger
Wait,
when
Ursula
she's
did
humming. No, this is Ariel. So
Oh.
Ariel is humming the song that she sang for Eric, and you can see the fish underneath her spell following her finger. And then
What
when she
scene
was
was that?
done, she was just like on the rock like this, and she was like,
This
and
Oh.
then the fish were following her. So I'm like, oh, this is the same exact siren song that you were singing to Eric on that beach. Now he sings, and as he sings, he says is desperately clinging to the shore, and he begs her to come find him again. He literally sings, all I do is wonder where you are and where you'll be in my mind. Your melody goes on.
Mm.
Your voice is like a siren. He says this. Your voice is like a siren that guides me to uncharted waters. If it takes my life, I will finally find you again in uncharted waters. Come find me. She put the spell under Eric. Eric's song was necessary for me to know that she put the
You know
spell
what?
onto Eric. Now, hold on. She did earn him for real when she
Yes.
was silenced. So she did earn him for real.
Okay, I'm
But
gonna
he
I'm
was
gonna rewind
totally
because you know what? I
in
didn't like really catch and
Oh,
analyze the lyrics
I
as
went
deep
in.
as
I
oh,
went in.
you did a Vanessa
Yes,
dive.
yes.
You did a
Oh, I
whole
almost slapped you in the face.
I wouldn't even mind. But like you did a whole Vanderland dive. You did
Yes.
me. I love it. And you
I'm
know what?
blushing.
I love it. Because I just felt like it was his voice was not giving me siren song and I couldn't get into it. But I did not go into the lyrics the way you did. Snap,
I
snap,
was like,
girl.
pause. What did you just say? Ooh, let me get my phone. I gotta take some notes.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. I take it back.
No, that song was so necessary. And now I say she did earn him for real.
Absolutely.
She absolutely earned him for real. And I do want to say something else about the film. Okay, the way what's her name? What's the person's name that was casted for Ariel?
Halle Bailey.
Her, yes. Um, she when she would speak her lines, right?
Mhm.
She sounded like Ariel
Oh
from
yeah.
the animated series. She had a great voice for this film. She was
Yes.
very good for this film.
My friend also said like her face. She has that very like the
Fish-like.
way her eyes are just like her facial expressions were very like
Piscean.
the out of like the kind of curious childlike like you know what I mean? Like her face was perfect for that vibe that she needs to give as a literal fish out of
Mhm.
water. I think that the casting for her was great. I thought the casting for the Vanessa character was perfect. When she came unhinged, I was like, "Oh my god, yes, you are giving me life right now."
I will say I'm a little disappointed with the hue of the tone of the red, though. I was expecting a little bit more of a red hue for
For her
the
hair.
hair. Because I
I
felt like that was a very big staple for Ariel.
It was, but I think you know what? It wouldn't have looked natural on her with her skin tone and everything. So even and I actually do praise this movie for the characters kind of making it their own.
Mhm.
Like I mean except for
Like, she
Melissa
had some
McCarthy.
really good red tones in there. She had a lot of blonde in there too, though.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah. Oh, also Melissa McCarthy. When they did the big Ursula bit at the end, I wasn't feeling it. That CGI was not it for
No,
me.
okay, that part was not for me. The CGI
Can I
effect was not good
can I
there.
tell you, it was giving like the Ghostbusters like Marshmallow Man if he was like his nautical cousin or something. That's It wasn't it.
Yeah.
Like, was this made in the 90s or 2023, guys? We could have done
Ooh.
better there. It was not.
Ooh.
It was not it.
I loved Eric's mom.
I loved
I
Eric's
loved
mom.
Eric's
I
mom.
okay. One more miss. Two more misses. One more miss. Two more. Sorry. um, the part where Ursula was in the castle playing the character. The woman's named Jessica Alexander, uh, playing the unhinged Vanessa, which I love. There was a part where she was in like her room just singing la-da-dee, la-da-da, but she
Mhm.
was singing in Ariel's voice.
Yeah.
She wasn't wearing the necklace, and then she put the necklace on and she continued singing.
And then it kinda, like, went through. Yeah.
So movie logic didn't make sense to me. I was like, "How was she singing in Ariel's voice if she wasn't wearing the necklace already? How did that work?"
Yeah,
So
that's
that
interesting.
took me out of the movie for a second.
Because the seagull is the one that it was like, "Oh, Ariel,"
Yeah,
but, like, that
because,
wasn't
like, in the
Ariel's
animated, she
voice.
was always wearing the
Mhm.
necklace so that she always sounded like Ariel.
Yeah.
And also King Triton at the end. Like, those eels unalived him completely. He evaporated, he vanished, he turned to dust.
Which is not what happened in the original.
Also, I was like, "Where are the seafoam people?
Yeah.
Where were all the seafoam people that got released?" Like, and how did okay, fine, you killed Ursula, but, like, how did he come back from being evaporated?
Maybe it's like if you kill the magic, you kill what destroys
But
him.
he
But he wasn't
destroyed
by
by
the
magic. He was
destroyed by the
he was
eels.
electrocuted by the eels.
Yeah. I don't
So it
that's a miss. That's a
that was
miss.
a big miss for
Although
me.
I did like who they casted for her father. I thought he did a
He
really
I
lovely
loved
job.
let's talk about the
I love the little
casting.
tap on the
Wait,
on the rock for Sebastian. He goes, "Oh no."
I loved his, like,
Voice too.
his voice, his School of Fish cape. Are we talking about Triton or
Yes.
Sebastian right now?
Triton.
The School of Fish cape that he
With his
had? I was
cape?
like and then he was like I was like, "What? How do you flap fish like that? How do they know where like, they have to be
How do
so
they know how to
they have to
be
be synchronized."
curtains? How do they know how to be a
That's
fabric?
insane. I love that all the daughters were representative of different cultures.
Mhm.
I thought
Shows that he's a man of the ocean for sure.
you know, almost 7 seas. But I loved it, and one of my notes is I loved how colorful this movie was.
Mhm.
Not just the costumes were colorful, the
People.
the texture, the visual coloring of the film was colorful, and the people were colorful, and I loved that about this film. You saw people from every corner of the earth
I love
in
that
this
too.
film on this
Mhm.
one tiny island.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was great. I also loved that we got to Eric is also ADHD coded. I love that we got to see them, like, bonding over their shared hoarders collections.
Yeah. He's like, "I'm sure it seems silly." And she's like, "No."
He's
She's like,
"No,
"Uh-huh."
tell me more. I
She's
want"
like, "Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh."
and I love, like, that curiosity, and he's like, "Oh, okay, like, you're gonna just let me keep talking? Like, everybody else shuts me up and tells me to be a prince or something."
Well, I mean,
Like
she didn't have a voice to shut him up, but
right, but also, I do feel like this movie could have been Eric.
yeah. I do love the fact that, like, they were able to kind of share almost some similar backstories of
Right.
the pressures of having to be a
Mhm.
son versus the pressures of having to be a daughter of someone
Of
of
having to
royalty and
right.
having to do duty and having to do things from duty
And
and
feeling
how
like
it
you didn't
keeps them
belong.
from their
Yeah.
adventures. And that's something that they both shared was how adventurous they were.
I also loved the fact that she is the one that told him her name in her own special way, rather than it being
Aries,
the Aries and the
and
Airy,
then the flipping of the
which I'm like, really? I
I
don't.
felt like that was almost kinda like teasing him a little bit too, like,
Mhm.
"Hey,
I
hey."
did not like the fact that whenever she thought about kissing him, she forgot. I mean, like, it speaks to her ADHD that I tell you she has. But
But that was a part of her the spell.
it was a clause that wasn't in the original,
That wasn't in the original.
and I'm like, "Okay, it's one thing to take away her siren song and make her work for it, but how is she supposed to work for it if she doesn't remember what her mission is?"
Yeah.
Like, you're literally making it
Now that
impossible.
makes Ursula more of a villain than
It
not a villain.
yeah, and scuttlebutt,
Yeah, do the scuttlebutt.
scuttlebutt.
I loved that song, by
that
the
song was my
way.
when I first got like,
And then
I
Sebastian
put I
starts joining in. Yeah.
okay,
What's
also
the word? What's the word?
first of all,
Scuttlebutt.
the casting for Scuttle. Now, this is exactly what they should have done with Will Smith and with Melissa McCarthy. The way Awkwafina played Scuttle, she wasn't trying to be the cartoon Scuttle. She was Awkwafina being a seagull.
Yep.
And I loved it. She brought all of her personality, the way she delivered some of the same lines from the original, but she did it in that Awkwafina way that like Will Smith just didn't do, that Melissa McCarthy just didn't do.
Yes. Again, if they hire you, they're hiring
You.
Be you.
And I think, and David Diggs, I loved his Sebastian. I feel like there was controversy around that, or if I remember correctly.
I love the attention to detail that one claw was bigger than the other, by the way.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
But I did notice in the back he had that little
those little flippers
that
helped him swim.
But I think he is so immensely talented. Like now, obviously that's not his natural accent, but he kept that accent throughout. Not only when he was speaking, but when he was singing and rapping. And again, call back to Hamilton because Lin-Manuel wrote Scuttlebutt. And stupid genius he is. I love Lin-Manuel. I'm jealous of him. Like he has way too much talent. But yeah, it calls back to Hamilton where David played Lafayette and he delivered all of his lines, both rapping, singing, speaking in that French accent that he never lost. And it's like, he is so talented with the like impressions and accents and singing and rapping. I'm like, dang, give me some. So I have to say that. And I think the last thing that I liked about this movie was the full circle moment. So at the beginning, where there was that quote from Hans Christian Andersen about a mermaid has no tears, and so what? How does it go? Oh shoot, I should have wrote it down. They're right when they're just showing the ocean, like just the big waves and the stormy waves, and there was a quote that came up on the screen that said, "A mermaid has no tears, and so she suffers more." But then at the end, when she's saying goodbye to her father, she sheds that tear. And that's that symbolic. She's either no longer a mermaid or she's no longer suffering, or a little bit of both.
I cry every time. Even if it's an animated, the remake, I cry every time the father goes to give her a hug. And yeah, no, I cry every time.
Oh, it got me.
He's like, you know what? It's going to be worse. How much I'm going to miss her. And I'm like, ugly cry.
No, honestly, I definitely ugly cry. I think I ugly cried at all of these movies. At some point, they get me because I feel like they're so relatable. And the other line that the father says to her is that you should not have had to give up your voice for me to hear you.
Yes.
Listen.
Yes.
And I think that was actually a common theme in all of these movies where Cinderella, even in the remake, was silent. She felt like she needed to be silent in order to live by her mother's words to be kind. She wasn't listened to. She wasn't heard.
Which is funny because her singing was the thing that got the attention of the people that were like, oh, there's another woman in the house.
True. Actually, yeah, I forgot about that part. But then when we go into, what was the second one we talked about? Aladdin. You have Jasmine literally singing about, I won't go speechless. You have Belle, like she's had a line when Gaston was like, trying to flirt with her at the beginning. And she's like, here are my words, Gaston. I will never marry you. She's like, you need to listen. And then that line at the end of The Little Mermaid. So at the end of me watching these 4 movies, I saw that theme of like, why is it that people just don't listen to women?
It's because we've been silenced for so long and they want us to be silent.
Okay.
So speaking of women,
and
last film,
Mulan.
Powerful woman.
And again, she felt like she had to be silenced in order to fit into her family's expectations.
I know a lot of people have issues with this film.
Which I don't understand.
I understand.
Oh, okay.
Now, I love this film. This is my favorite out of all of them. This is my favorite remake.
Admittedly,
and I'm going to explain why.
I wanted to get to it and I just wasn't able to watch it. I tried to watch it a few weeks ago when we were doing for a different episode, or maybe I don't know. I got lots of notes, but I fell asleep. So My memory is not as sharp as yours, but please go.
Okay. So the reason why I think a lot of people had issues with this film was
Mhm.
because it wasn't the Disney film as we know. It was
No.
literally it was made almost as if it was the actual legend
Mhm.
itself on which Mulan's Disney animated film was based off of. So it was almost like
Yeah,
the real story of
absolutely.
Mulan.
Absolutely.
And ooh, I got chills.
I
Sorry.
love it.
Now this movie also spoke of chi, and chi is
I love
energy,
that
and
about
it's
that
life
movie.
energy, it's a life force,
Mhm.
everybody's born with it, and the fact that she was always told that she had to disintegrate her chi because people
Mhm.
would think that she's a witch. Hi, everybody. Um, that's so not the case, but back then,
Yeah,
and also he had 2 daughters, by the way,
right?
which I don't think back then that was,
No, and I think
um
in the cartoon,
she didn't have a sister, did she?
she didn't have a sister, but the dog, little brother, was how they put because I think in the actual legend, she did have a little brother, but
Mm,
instead of making another child, they made it the dog and called him little brother,
okay.
to my recollection.
So,
Fact check me.
but yeah, I think this was like the original like legend of what the Disney was based on. So that's why I feel like a lot of people had issues with it because they were like, "Oh, there's no dragon, it was a phoenix," or "Oh, the falcon." Which, by the way, the falcon, I loved that the falcon was a high chi witch.
Mhm.
And that this witch was basically feeling like she was like Mulan and Mulan was like her, and
Yeah.
how she was like, "Oh, join me." And it wasn't that she was a villain because she was working for the bad guys. She was mainly trying to find ways of being accepted.
Mhm.
And Mulan was like, "You can have the noble path. You can have a more noble, loyal path." And Mulan goes, "Join me." Because
Right.
she sees Mulan leading this army and she
Mhm.
goes, "Impossible." She goes, "Impossible. A woman leading an army of men." And
Ooh.
she was being forced to be like a sidekick for these men.
Right.
And so she had chosen the noble path and helped Mulan find the emperor. And that's when she took an arrow for Mulan and actually risked her
I gotta
life
rewatch
for
this movie.
Mulan.
Dagnabbit.
So I will read some of my notes here.
Go
So,
through it.
okay, I already spoke about the woman with the white strip and the chi because I thought that was amazing.
As you're
Um,
going through your notes,
yes,
in the original like, in the legend or in real actual history, the Hun army did have women in it, didn't it?
I'm sorry. What was the question?
The Hun army?
The true Hun army,
Right. Didn't it have
like
women?
in real life?
Mhm. Did it not?
I would have to do that research, but I don't
Okay.
think so.
Alright.
I would have to do that research. I don't want to say yes or no without doing the research.
It's a random fact that just came to my brain that I think I read somewhere sometime, long time ago.
So I have here in the animated version, she was wounded, and that's how they found out.
Right.
Whereas in this film, she kind of just came out on her own.
Mhm.
She had her armor broken by the Falcon, and the Falcon was like, "You are being unloyal and untruthful to yourself, and because of your lies, you will die. You will perish. It will weaken your chi."
Mm.
And so that's when she decided to be her full self, and that's when she really whooped some butt. Okay.
And I love that line. Christina Aguilera did a new song for this film, like Loyal, Brave, True. And I love it. Oh, ooh, it's giving me chills just hearing it in my brain.
Now, at this time, Mulan has already been found out. She's been told by the leader of the chief or whatever, who wasn't her romance, by the way. Her
Mhm.
romance was another soldier,
Not the Shane character.
not the person that is training everybody. It
Oh,
was a
right.
fellow
Yeah,
soldier in
yes,
the
that
film.
that I remember, like, they were sleeping next to each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Scandalous.
So what she does is she says to them after she comes out, she goes, he's like, "Oh, you're going to be disgrace, dishonor to your family." And
Dishonor to your cow?
she goes, "I'd rather be executed.
Mm,
I'd rather be executed than bring dishonor to my family name." And that just goes to show how important it is for people in this culture to really, I don't want to say appease the mother and father, but it is a thing to honor family. It
yeah.
is a very big thing to honor family and not to bring shame to the family.
Mm.
if I even thought about taking something by accident without permission, my
Mhm.
father would be like, "Don't ever do that. We
Right.
have money. You don't have to take that." And I go,
Mhm.
"Oh, I forgot. Like, here you go. Like this and
Yeah.
that." But he's like, "Never put our name in the news unless it's good." That's what it is.
Aw, I love that.
Um, yeah, she made an amends with her family and, oh no, wait, hold on, I'm skipping a part. She goes back because he goes, "If you come back, your wish to be executed will be granted." She
Mm.
comes back because the falcon
Yeah.
decides to tell her the plans of going to the emperor and killing the emperor and how this whole battle was an ambush. So she goes back risking, execution, and she's like, "I understand I'm risking this, but, like, here is this information. You must hear me out first." And that's when everyone's like, "I believe Mulan. I believe Mulan." And that's when she starts having faith in herself.
Mhm.
So I love that too. She does make an amends with her family, and obviously I cried when her father hugged her. And then the Imperial Army came and they gave her the Sword of Jade, and it had those three virtues, but on the back um, it had honoring the family on
Oh.
there, and the father was so proud, and the father was like, "You really did bring honor to us all." So I really loved, the Mulan, especially because the guy who plays Mowgli in the Jungle Book remake, which was my favorite as a kid, plays the bad guy in Mulan. I
Okay, wait.
loved it.
What I loved about this movie is, I don't remember which part she played, but, the original voice actress for Mulan, um, I know she made a cameo in this film as well, and she was one of my favorite characters from a '90s movie called The Joy Luck Club. That was a movie that I played on repeat, which I don't even know why as a child because um, what, it's not necessarily for children, but it's a great movie about mothers and daughters, and culture and, like, I guess in this case, Eastern versus Western culture, whichever, however you wanna say it. It was one of my favorite movies, and I realized watching that movie back that her character in that film totally had ADHD.
Mm.
And there was a scene between her and her mother where they had a big dinner and there was crab legs, and she took the bad crab, and her mom says, um, I like, they have she's like, "Mom, you don't see me, you don't hear, you don't know who I am." And her mom says, "I do see you. You took the bad crab, and Waverly took the worst, or you took the bad one, Waverly took the best one, but it's because you have the best quality heart." And that
Aw.
when that I'm speechless. Like, when she says that, "You have the best quality heart, you do things differently, you think differently," and I hear those lines, I knew can I tell you, like, in single digits, I knew this whole movie, even the parts that were in Chinese, like, I knew it word for word.
But yeah, I think that's the reason why people didn't like it because it wasn't the lighthearted Disney version that we know. It was more
But,
of
like,
the realness of what could
and
have been the real story of
and I
Mulan.
feel like, what is the issue with that? Because, like, we all know that Disney-fies, like, these more grim stories.
Mhm.
I mean, The Little Mermaid, y'all, did not have a happy ending.
And that's another episode we can do is the Grimm brothers versions of these fairy tales, the
Right. Well, don't
originals.
forget, Little Mermaid was Hans Christian Andersen,
Oh.
but he wrote some pretty gruesome things.
Also, the amount of different Cinderellas throughout
So
different
many.
cultures, I love the Egyptian one. My
Oh.
goodness.
Oh, I don't think I know that. I mean, there's so many Cinderella stories just right here in America from ever after. Um, there's literally a Cinderella story. There was the one with Lizzie McGuire. No, no, no. Hilary Duff.
Oh, I'm
There
not
wa
even talking about a film, I'm talking about a book.
Oh,
Yeah, just like in books
oops.
in general, there's so many different versions of Cinderella
Well,
throughout every culture. It's
they talk about
incredible.
that on, like, the show Once Upon a Time. You watched it?
Mm-mm.
Honestly, that could be a side quest, is, like, us rewatching Once Upon a Time because it dives, especially when they kind of rebooted it for the last season, they talk about how there's a Cinderella, or, like, there's these different versions of characters in every culture,
Yep.
and they all are a little bit different because in the main character, Henry, he grows up, it flash forwards, and he actually marries Cinderella, but it wasn't the one that they knew from their storybook. It was this Latina one, and I loved it.
So we have so many awesome thoughts and seasons. We do have seasons actually of this show that are going to be coming.
Oh,
And we have
I
so
got
many
ideas. I
episodes.
got ideas.
I know next week we're gonna not next week, but next taping that we'll be doing a part 2
Yep.
of comparisons. So
And I
I
think
know we're going to be talking about Lilo and Stitch. I would love to
so.
do the Jungle Book.
I'm down for doing the Jungle Book. What
Cool, cool.
other remakes were there that we missed this
Oh,
time?
and we also wanted to talk about the CGI effects. So we wanted to do
Mhm.
The Lion King and
Oh,
maybe
yep,
possibly Mufasa.
we can absolutely talk about Mufasa. I think it's hard. I mean, Mufasa, I think, has a lot of things that were in the press about it as well.
And hopefully we can try to find a way to watch Snow White too and talk about the CGI on that one too.
Okay, so we're talking about the Jungle Book, Snow White, possibly,
We already did Lilo and Stitch.
Lilo and Stitch,
Mhm.
Lion King,
Lion King
and possibly, Mufasa.
and possibly Mufasa. But we're not taping for another 2 weeks.
Possibly 3, 'cause, the following Monday, I have a field trip.
Okay, so field trip and jury duty, y'all. That's what's keeping us.
Yeah,
But we've already pre-recorded other episodes,
lucky for
so
you guys,
we're
so
doing good.
you're not gonna miss a week.
All right.
Alright. Yeah, wait, one last thing. Yeah, we got 8 minutes.
Okay. We still have to do promos.
Okay, we don't have 8 minutes. Um, do you wanna rank these 4 or 5 movies? You already said Mulan was your top.
Mulan was my top because it gave me like the legendary backstory of what was before Mulan, the before the kid like thing. My second one would be probably Beauty and the Beast because of how well they did.
You have a
All the
special relationship with that one.
I do. It was absolutely breathtaking how they were able to get the animated 2D animation and turn the architecture and the staging and the lighting
I
and the
like the fact that the
costumes.
the castle was also falling apart as
It
well.
was perfect.
That was good.
So my top is from top to bottom Mulan, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid. I think it's a tie between Aladdin and Cinderella, honestly.
Mm, I
Maybe
think
Cinderella and then Aladdin, and then they're a tie.
okay. I'm not gonna count Mulan since I didn't really, like, watch it for this segment, but, the top one has to be The Little Mermaid for me. I think it was way too good. The second one I'm gonna say was hmm, I'm gonna go with Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and then Cinderella.
Fair, fair.
Yeah.
All right,
All right,
folks.
you have been listening to another Adventures in Vanderland. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow so you don't ever miss an episode or punch a microphone. Let's take it out. Mm, 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 mm.
Seek thee out the diamond in the rough. I think this is my new favorite toy.
It doesn't happen with my mic.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Speaking through the microphone.
Here you go.
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't
that's
happen with mine.
interesting. I wonder why.
Mhm.
What happens if I. Nope.
It's gonna be just your microphone, I think.
Huh. Hmm.
Because you're the host, my dose.
I was the one who had it all. I'm off key.